That has a different meaning, Zennie. In my time, that is a different meaning.
It's true. Folks, it is my pleasure, my honor. I am blessed, as we were talking about off camera, to introduce my friend, Santa Clara Mayor, Lisa Gillmor. Miss Mayor, it's an honor to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's really an honor to be here and to see you after all these years. I remember talking to you when I first became mayor way back when, and it's nice to see you back again. So thank you for inviting me on your show.
Oh, you're quite welcome. First of all, congratulations are in order for Santa Clara, which is really truly the geographic host city of the 60th Super Bowl. I mean, how was that for you? What was it like to go through it a second time in general?
Well, I still am taking Advil, so there was a lot of headaches. There was a lot of issues and a lot of stress, but I have to say, at the end of the day, things worked out perfectly, seamlessly, securely. We were very professional in the way believe me, it took a village to complete this Super Bowl. Santa Clara had the main event. I know other cities were doing all kinds of things, but the main event was in Santa Clara, and it went off. People didn't get hurt. No one was killed. ICE didn't come. It was all the way around a great, great day. But believe me, as easy as it looks and as it seems, we were working on that for 3 years. 3 years of preparations and organizing and asking ourselves every what if this happens, what if that happens, and even up until the very end, we were making changes in our policies in the city to keep ICE out and do all kinds of things. So it was what an experience. But at the end of the day, Bad Bunny was fabulous, and it turned out really well.
And so you mentioned some of the not so fun parts about it. And as one who's formed Oakland's only bid to host the Super Bowl game, we lost to Jacksonville. I wrote a 300-page book trying to prepare for some of those problems, but it's one thing to say that I had a game plan, but it's another thing to talk to somebody who was rolling out the game plan. What were some of them? I mean, we know about, well, yeah, just open-ended. What were the problems that you faced? And
well, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there was a lot, and I wasn't privy to, some of the, especially the security real issues. I know, there's always threats and things like that our department doesn't advertise out there. But when you think about the fact that we are a city of 130,000 people in Santa Clara, we have a police force of, 150 officers, which is incredibly, small, considering we have our municipal city, plus we own Levi Stadium. It's a publicly owned stadium. So when you think about that, so our police department had to coordinate with lots of state and federal organizations, all the alphabet, the FBI, the, whoever, Homeland, HSC, Homeland Security, and other things. We had to coordinate with all of them. So, and everybody has their ideas of how secure the security is going to work. But at the end of the day, our city, the buck stopped with us and our police department. And Santa Clara is a little bit different. We're the only city in California that has an elected police chief. So our elected chief, Corey Morgan, who has been in the department for many years, was 1 year on the job as an elected police chief when he was handed the reins of Super Bowl. And we're not even talking World Cup. That's next, right? That's right. The next chapter. So he's 1 year into this, and I mean, he really hit the ground running. He did a fantastic job, but also not just making sure that the people that come to Levi Stadium are protected, and the visitors and the fans that are there, and the employees that are working there, but we're also in charge with outside the perimeter of the stadium. So when Donald Trump or whoever, his director of Homeland Security, oh God, what's her name?
Kristi Noem.
Oh God, I don't even want to say it. But when Kristi Noem said, we're coming to Super Bowl and we're bringing ice, and don't worry if you're here legally, then that opened a huge, bunch of issues for us. And the president said, yes, I'm sending everybody to Super Bowl. So that was like, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, 9 months ago. So that's when it really started. And it's like, what are you going to do, Santa Clara? How are you going to stand up? How are you going to protect people? And, with our role as a city and our police department, we can only do what the law says we can do. But we were really lucky because the state of California has a law that doesn't allow our police department or any police department in California to coordinate with ICE, to spend any resources, with immigration enforcement. It wasn't just ICE, it's any immigration enforcement. We're not allowed to do any of that. But I think there was, because of the fear that he put into our community, and it wasn't just Santa Clara, it's San Jose, Oakland, San Francisco, and everybody in between, the absolute fear, and then we'll talk about Minneapolis, but he put into our community that really started to make something that was super positive for us in Santa Clara to host Super Bowl for the second time. We punch above our weight in Santa Clara. So we were hosting for a second time. We're really proud to be able to do that. Then he pours this fear onto us and making it negative, and then trying to, as the mayor of the city, trying to allay the fears of our residents to say, we're going to protect you. But they're like, how are you going to protect us? What are you going to do to stop them? And I'm thinking, what are we going to do if they come into town? I've seen the videos. I've seen what they did in Minneapolis. I see how scary they are.
Yeah.
When they come in, and are they going to, pay attention to our police department if they're there? Are they going to pay attention to what I say? Are they going to, are they going to do what they just do?
Right.
Which is, out there attacking people. So it's, so that's been going on for months, and up until the very last day, Tuesday before Super Bowl, a week ago Tuesday, we passed a policy that was very similar to San Jose's and the county of Santa Clara, where we declared that any city property was a no ICE zone in Santa Clara, and we quickly had to pivot to put up, and I don't even know if our signs ended up, but for signage and other things, and we actually got the NFL security person, the gal, I can't remember her name,
right. I know you're talking
to say that she said there's no planned ICE, enforcement coming to the Super Bowl, but people are like, well, what if it's unplanned? I mean, the conversation just went to the very last minute till, the start of Super Bowl. I was getting reports, we don't have anybody here, but we have a lot of protesters, rightly so. And that's besides the community, we had a lot of other issues. Bad Bunny was practicing, right? He's practicing a day or two before the Super Bowl. So he's practicing, and then they shot off they were fireworks with this big puff of red and blue smoke that a windy day, it floated over the community into the residential areas. And I even calls this smoke. It smells like chemicals. Are we being hit with a chemical bomb? And then it's like they smell bombs and then red smoke, and what the hell is this? And so it's everything from the Bad Bunny red smoke to the to ICE, and really, Zennie, everything in between leading up to things, road closures. And are we going to be able to police the rest of our community, or is this a good time to commit a crime in Santa Clara during the Super Bowl? So it was everything. And so the minute the game was over, and can everybody get out of Levi Stadium? Are the VTA trains too packed, and the traffic coming in? But at the end of the day, Monday morning, when it was really over and it was cleanup time, we all took a collective sigh of relief that we did it. It was successful. People loved, loved being there, loved the halftime show, just loved the whole atmosphere.
It was great. Just to even on television, the way it unfolded was just magnificent.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
I'm,
that's sorry. Long-winded, but yeah.
I'm curious. When I was trying to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland, Jim Steig, who is then Mr. Super Bowl, now it's Peter O'Reilly and another gentleman, Tim. But at any rate, said that the ideal situation, Zennie, is for the city and the team to be hand in glove and come to the league wanting a Super Bowl, and they're supposed to work that way. But in this instance, you had a complication. There was San Francisco, which was the host city, but geographically, you're really the host city. And so, but I would think because of that, that rule should still apply. But was it the case where you were really hand in glove with the host committee?
No, that wasn't the case. So, so in Super Bowl 50, and that's the only thing I have to compare it to. In Super Bowl 50, we were hand in glove with the team, and they were just creating the Bay Area Host Committee at the time. Who was the head of that was Daniel Lurie, who's now the mayor of San Francisco. So, but it was the 49ers. They're the backstop of the host committee. Al Guido's the president. I mean, it's the 49ers, but Daniel Lurie was the face of the host committee. We put together a bid together, and we had to work out all the details of the operations, and then I'll tell you why our city's a little bit different. But then we put in the bid, and we had to compete for Super Bowl 50, and our whole community was part of it. I remember that day that they announced that it was Santa Clara that got it. Oh, we were there. Were you there? We were beside ourselves.
Yeah, I have the interview. I was at the front, and I asked the question of Daniel, Jed, and Dr. York. And I had to tell you this because Rodney Barreto was of the competing Miami bid.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And I still had that video. He was livid. Oh my God. He was like, I thought he was going to I was going to break his spleen. Oh my God. He couldn't believe it. I'm going to sue. He's a big dude, right? So
yeah.
And so when Jed came out, Jed and Daniel and Dr. York, it was like this calm. And I was really, really proud of him. So yeah, I was there. That was in Charlotte. I was really proud of him. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So we were all excited, and then we worked out some of the details. Okay, fast forward 10 years, there is no competitive process anymore. There is none. And so because it was a World Cup year, 2026, right? Most, a lot of, at least 11 of the big stadiums were involved with World Cup. So really, who in their right mind would want to do Super Bowl and World Cup in the same year?
Ta-da!
But they didn't include us in any of the negotiations. They went straight, the Bay Area Host Committee, which is the 49ers, went straight to the NFL and worked out a deal, and then came back and said, hey, surprise, you have Super Bowl now. So they worked out all of they did both World Cup and Super Bowl. We wanted it. We said, yes, we do it, but they didn't include us in any of the discussions or any of the negotiations. And that's par for the course for them. They just never included us.
Ms. Mayor, I think you unlocked a problem with the insular process, because I never, I was always thinking I need to ask Peter and them and Roger, the commissioner, why we went to an insular process rather than the bid. And you just pointed out a problem with the new process is that the team basically comes to you with this as if they're not supposed to negotiate, I guess.
Well, it's all done behind the scenes now with the NFL, and the NFL decides where they want the next Super Bowl. They said the process has changed. It's not competitive. Well, it's not openly competitive anymore.
No, it's in-house, but but see, I thought, and you're correcting me because I'm wrong. My impression when I first heard it, I first heard it from Frank Sapovitz, who was I met in 2005 when he took over for Jim Steig as EVP of special events. But I was under the impression in my head that all the negotiations and discussions would still happen with the NFL and the desired location, right? But from what you're saying to me is that's not what happened.
Well, that's what happened, but we weren't a part of it. My city wasn't a part of it at all. That's what happened between the NFL and the 49ers.
That's what I mean.
We weren't privy to it at all.
Right. That's what exactly what I mean. Whereas with the open process, with the bid process, you're more involved. The officials are more involved from the get-go, right?
Right. And as the host stadium, as the owners of the stadium, we're the Santa Clara Stadium Authority. I'm the chair of the board. They didn't bring us in at all. And they just said, hey, this is what it is. This is what's happening. And it's going to be our Bay Area host committee that is going to work out all the details of everything. That's, and that's the way it was. So the way that worked for us was that because our community was not part of the whole, the bid and the situation like they were in Super Bowl 50, it was a whole different vibe in my city for Super Bowl 60, in the fact that, many people felt like outsiders. Like most of our community could not afford to go to Super Bowl, but we still wanted to be part of it and to, experience the excitement of it. And we're a very proud city. And, as I said, we always punch above our weight. And to be the owners of the stadium and to be hosting and knowing that we have to carry the heavy load for this. I mean, we have San Jose having parties and San Francisco having parties, but at the end of the day, all roads lead to Santa Clara, and we have the main event, and we're in charge of the safety and the experience for the people that are coming, because that shows well for the entire Bay Area. If we are doing things the right way, we can't really screw up at all. We have to do things the right way. And that's a huge responsibility for us. And so what we've had to do is, because they don't include us, the Bay Area Host Committee didn't have any events for us, we have to do our own. So we sponsored our own Lunar New Year kickoff event a week before Super Bowl. And we have a lot more planned for World Cup. But it was just a shame that, because we weren't part of the situation. But and that leads me to talk about like the finances of this. Because that's someone has to pay the bill, right?
Yeah.
And when we approved the stadium construction back in 2010, we passed what we call Measure J. And Measure J was passed by our citizens. It said, we're okay with the building of a stadium in Santa Clara, but you can't use a dime of general fund money for the construction or operations of the stadium. So our negotiated agreement with the Bay Area Host Committee is, all right, we'll let you take over the stadium for Super Bowl. So, and they generate, the Bay Area Host Committee, and it's the NFL. They generate all the money. People think we make millions. No, we're lucky to get our costs paid back. So they generate all the money. In the meantime, they have to pay all of our costs associated with Super Bowl and, of course, World Cup. So they're responsible to pay us back for all our, city services, public safety, and all that. And I think because of the threatened ICE by the president and other things, I think our security was even, it's going to be even more dear than it was before. It's going to be more expensive. But there, that leads me to the rub of our agreement. So they have to pay back our costs. We can't use any general fund money. And so what turned out in Super Bowl 50 is that it turned out we were using some general fund money for the Super Bowl. And
After all that, yeah.
the day after Super Bowl 50, the mayor resigned. That's when I became mayor 10 years ago. The mayor resigned, the city manager left, the city attorney left, and the finance director left, all in a short period of time. We did audits after, and things had to be paid back because they were, I don't want to go into that too much, but
Sure.
but fast forward, I don't want
was involved, who used to work for us in Oakland. Oh gosh, her name flew right out of my head. She used to work for
Deanna Santana.
Yeah, Deanna.
No,
okay.
It was Julio. Who I can't remember. It's Julio. Gosh, I can't remember. No, she came way later.
Okay.
She came way later. So yeah, so that happened. So I don't want the same thing to happen this time. But this time, our city manager and city attorney negotiated a contract that says that we present our bills to the Bay Area Host Committee, which is the 49ers, and they determine if our costs are appropriate. And they'll pay us back for the costs that are legitimate and appropriate. And then if we have a problem, if they have a problem with it, then we go through an arbitration process. Now, I did not support that contract because I say any person in the right mind would not sign that contract. But city manager, city attorney proposed it to our city council. And I don't know if you've heard about our city council, but the 49ers have put millions of dollars into city council candidates. And the 5 of them voted for this contract. So this is my issue now, that we put on a very successful event. It was expensive, and I want our costs paid back because our citizens in Santa Clara should not be left with a single dollar of costs for the Super Bowl, of which we don't make. The only money we make from the Super Bowl is from maybe extra hotel tax, sales tax, and people visiting our small businesses, like our restaurants and our hotel restaurants, and filling up our hotel rooms. We love that. I mean, that's fantastic, that part of it. But the rest of it is going to be millions of dollars of costs. And I fear, like in the past several years, since Jed York has decided to, purchase campaigns for certain council members, we've had 3 mediations and arbitrations that they have settled in favor of the 49ers. So they're getting their money back, easily compared to the money they've put in. And I'm worried that if these costs go to arbitration or mediation, that our council will settle. The majority of our council will settle. So that's my big issue, is that, all right, I hope that people are honest about this. And, I can only hope for the best, that the Bay Area Host Committee says, okay, city, you put out this effort, we're going to pay you back. Because remember, all the money still has to flow through our general fund. So we're floating that money until we're paid back. And it was supposed to be like a little over $6 million. I suspect it's going to be more because of the extra security. But there's a timeline, and we'll know by April, May, what the game is. And hopefully there isn't one, and we just get our fees paid back, because then we kick in right into World Cup. And it's the same, funky, onerous repayment situation for World Cup. Wow. And that's going to be 30, 40, 50 million or more. So that one's even a lot more.
What occurs to me is that in the research that I did to talk with you, I thought, I know something about how the nuts and bolts are supposed to work and what the host committee can do. But what I don't know is what other host committees have done. And so by the grace of God, I found the first agreement between the city of and county of Los Angeles and the Los Angeles Sports and Entertainment Commission. And you believe they had, this is from 2022, Ms. Mayor, they had a payback of $8.216 million. But there's a clause, and the clause says that even if those costs go over that, guess what? The host commit the Los Angeles Sports and Entertainment Commission still has to pay the city and county of Los Angeles back whatever that amount is. So what you're talking about is not the usual thing that I thought it was. Where let's take Texas. In Texas, you had, when the Cowboys were hosting the Super Bowl in 2011, the Texas has something called a major events aid fund.
Yeah, the state.
Yeah. So Dallas put in a request for 3.2 million. Fort Worth put in a request for 2.3 million. Why those reversed, ironically, but whatever. That's
right.
And cities that you never heard of, I would say about 7 different cities in all put in requests. California has nothing like that.
There was some money, and I don't know if it's for World Cup or it's for all the events. There was money like 7 or 8 million, I think, that was allocated by the state of California to help for these events. But it was, oh no, this was for World Cup. This isn't for Super Bowl, because I'm thinking it was split between Northern and Southern California. Depending on how many games, because we have 6 World Cup games in Northern California in Santa Clara, and then there's 8 World Cup games in Southern California. So they split it like 60-40, something like that.
Wow.
And then for us, they sent it to our county of Santa Clara. We haven't seen any money from that. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's my other part of this discussion, because I also, like in the LA case, Inglewood, you would say, okay, maybe Inglewood is hosting, right? Because
they're hosting
for Super Bowl 61.
Yeah, they just hand the football over to Inglewood.
Exactly. Yeah.
Super Bowl, 61. Yeah.
So guess what? Different from your situation, Inglewood has a contract with LA County for police.
Oh, okay.
See?
Okay.
So they're able, and what I'm discovering is that all these situations are vastly different, but in your case, it sounds to me like taxation without representation.
Yeah.
Because when I look at the other ones, Ms. Mayor, they have no problem paying back the city. Except, and that's including the NFL case, because LA is an NFL case, right?
Right.
But in your case, the 49ers have a problem making sure that you get your money. That's
what they do. There's a reason, and it's unprecedented in our city, the amount of money they have spent on elections. I think it's been over 25 million. I think the Mercury News did a report on that. They're for electing people in tiny little districts, having Monday Night Football commercials about them, and like spending $1 million in a tiny little, 7,000 voting district. It's just wrong. It's just wrong, but it's paid off for them. It's really because they have some loyal, supporters on the city council. We've had grand jury reports that say the council puts the interests of the team over the city. But as long as they continue to do this, our situation on getting paid back is convoluted. It's onerous. It doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, our council, they hire our city staff, our manager, and our city attorney. So everyone is, everyone's loyal. Loyal. They have a loyal bunch there. So for me, I in my real job, I'm a real estate broker, but I come from the real world, the real business world. And when I see my city that I grew up in, that I raised my family in, when I see them putting a special interest above the interest of our community, and they've changed our community in a negative way. Certainly we have all these great, Super Bowl world. I'm really excited about World Cup because I'm a soccer mom. But when I see what's happened, it's just, these contracts that we're signing from our city, that make any person, any business person would say, you don't have the person that is paying the bill decide how much they want to pay. It's as simple as that. You would never do that. Where else would you ever get that advice? Ever. When we had Super Bowl 50, we sent the bill to them. They paid the costs. Simple. It wasn't anything like this. But they have the 49ers stadium company that are backstopping the Super Bowl costs, meaning if the Bay Area Host Committee can't raise the money that the stadium company would pay. But the stadium company, because I know this, is an LLC, and there's a firewall between the stadium company and the 49ers because it's an LLC, right? You don't have any assets, and the asset is the lease in the stadium that the city owns. But they have no guarantee from the parent company, which is the 49ers. So, and we still have to go through that onerous process. So they'll say, oh, we're here, the Bay Area Host Committee, and we're backstopped by the 49ers. No, you're backstopped by the stadium company, LLC. But
Stadco.
Stadco. The backstop by Stadco. And, I look at my council members, they don't even ask questions. I'm like, what? Like, come on, who's representing us in Santa Clara? So, that's my rub. That's my problem. I'm a big sports person. I love these events. I love having them. But for me, my city comes first. And so that's why, I haven't, they don't care for me very much because, and they'll say this is personal. It's personal to me about my city. My city's personal to me. And I support my city first. So we'll see, to be determined. What, the story will continue. Stay tuned.
Off camera, you said something about, because I was explaining off camera that folks may not, if you've never watched me before, I'm the only person to form the bid to bring the Super Bowl Oakland. We lost to Jacksonville in 2000. And as I was explaining to the mayor off camera, I came up with an idea called Jack London's NFL Playland, specifically to raise money for Oakland nonprofits and also for any cleanup responsibilities that we would have to deal with. And so I was calculating we could squeeze about 15 million out of that. So, which would be, if you think about it in today's place,
that's a lot. Yeah.
Right. Well, hey, look, my target was headlining Rolling Stones. And so you get that money. So, but what you were saying to me in response, because I said, did you have the ability to produce some type of event? And it sounds like you didn't. You said something about Al Guido, the president of the Niners, signing the contract or something of that order, I think.
Yeah, that was for World Cup and Super Bowl. The Bay Area Host Committee is not Santa Clara. It's a group of the 49ers. They have what do they call them? They have they have members of the Bay Area Host Committee. For show they have all the sports represented and sports and different business people on this board. But it's the 49ers who file the tax returns, and Al Guido's the president of the Bay Area Host Committee. So their allegiance is not to Santa Clara, even though that's where they've made all their money, is in Santa Clara. Their allegiance is to San Francisco and others who pay their bills. Remember, we are not allowed to pay our bills. So all of the events for Super Bowl were in San Francisco, all the concerts, the NFL experience. And I get that. I get that they deserve to have events. San Francisco is an iconic city. It's beautiful. They did give one fan fest, I think, to Oakland, and they had
watch event,
media day in San Francisco. I mean, in San Jose. I think you got one fan fest. In Oakland. I don't know if there was more hosted by the Bay Area Host Committee. We didn't have
a watch party.
A watch party, fan fest. I said it's a watch party. We had nothing in Santa Clara, so we created our own events, paid for by our own money for our people. So, but we had the big event, but we didn't have anything else leading up to that.
Whereas to my mind, as I was saying off camera, to me, the host knowing that you have a cost issue with the real host city geographically, they should have done as much as they could, in my estimation, of taking you out of the taxation without representation position you're in, which may be unconstitutional. I don't know, but this comes to mind as a legal test in terms of theory, not in terms of actual like thought lawsuit on that basis. But I would explore it. I think because as I see it, and I go back to the way I was taught by the NFL originally, I think I'll fairly say that NFL would not do what this NFL is doing. And I know it's a bold statement, but I think it has to be said that there's a better way. For example, a number of the new commercials were AI. Organizations that are in the Bay, or some of them are in your backyard, Silicon Valley, right? So couldn't they have said, hey, you know what, let's earmark part of this to help out Santa Clara with their costs? I mean, they're paying, tons of billions, and guess what? Their costs are infinitesimally small. We can pay that and not even miss a beat,
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. No, you're not. And I think that, we're not sour grapes in Santa Clara. We're proud of who we are and what we've accomplished, because we're a pretty great city with what we do. And we just wanted to be part of the actual celebration, right? We want to be part of it because we can't afford to go, but we still, we're the hosts. So we wanted to be respected in that way. We're team players with San Jose and San Francisco and up the Bay and Oakland and everyone. We're good team players, but at the same time, we also need to be rewarded for our hard work, and even just to be acknowledged, at Super Bowl. Thank you, Santa Clara. I'm here in Santa Clara, not San Francisco. San Francisco played their part. San Jose played their part. Oakland played their part, but we played our part as well. So
they didn't acknowledge
you? No.
Wow.
No, we did not. And so I mean, and I get it. The world knows where San Francisco is. I get it. I'm not naive about that, but at the same time, we're hosting the events. It's in Santa Clara.
You're the host city.
We're the center of Silicon Valley, and we have the most valuable company in the world headquartered. NVIDIA is headquartered in Santa Clara. In the world, we own our own electric utility. We have 57 data centers. We power Silicon Valley. I mean, we're the center of innovation, and in our own right, we do really well here in the city, and but we don't have some of the infrastructure to host a lot of the events surrounding Super Bowl and World Cup. We get that. We know that. But we're working on it. We're working on things for the future. We have some big developments that are coming up that are going to change our landscape. And yeah, I mean, all in all, it was a really good experience, but now somebody has to pay the bills.
Yeah, and it should be the 49ers in the NFL. And they've
Absolutely.
got, that's the way it's going to be in LA, because LA has an agreement that's not going to let the LA Los Angeles Sports and Entertainment Commission do that, and they don't want to. They have no problem paying the freight. And this is contractually stated. If the costs go over the $4.216 million earmark that they determined, that was in 2022. I'm sure it's going to be more.
It'll be more now.
Yeah. But I'll bet you the language is the same, because all they have to do is take out this one and put in that one in terms of the words, right?
Right.
And just keep moving forward.
Yeah. Right.
This is awful. I know for a fact, having put together a bid, they could have done it better. I know that.
Well, they could have included us on in part of it. And they didn't include us in the World Cup bid either. So that's another story. That'll be for the next time I meet you.
Is it possible? Will the city file a lawsuit?
Not with my present council. No. They're
Can they be recalled?
one of them's up for recall right now. One of them, says Jane. Yeah, there's active signature gatherers. People in his district have had enough. They've had enough, and 49ers is a big issue, but they also want a downtown, and that's his district, and he hasn't done anything to promote that or to put shovels in the ground. And people are just mad because they're tired of the council and people like him putting the team's interests over the interests of our community. So I think people are starting to look like we've had enough. We've had enough of this and we need to change it. We're not a very political city, but right now we seem to be, very much owned by the 49ers. And it's a hard pill to swallow because
like a company town or something like that.
Oh, 100%. And it's a hard pill to swallow because we didn't expect that when the stadium came to Santa Clara. We expected them to come in and actually do the right thing and, make good on all of their promises, which I was the spokesperson for the campaign to bring the stadium to Santa Clara. So I know every promise they made and every promise they broke. And instead of doing the right thing, they're out buying city council seats. That's wrong. But there's not a lot of publicity on it because everybody loves sports and, they're like, oh, why don't you just get along? But the fact of the matter is I'm protecting the city and I feel bad. My term's up at the end of this year. And, people know that if they come in and try to protect the city, they're going to get attacked with Monday Night Football ads and 35 pieces of mail and, talking about what a crook you are and really unfair things. They've scared a lot of good people away from running for office. But, the bottom line, these people that are taking their support, they don't care about you. They just want to make money. It's all about the money. And one of our council members ended up, in fact, he came to the council meeting last night. He's a convicted felon now because he took confidential information and gave it to the 49ers. And he was convicted of a felony. And guess who the person was that testified against him? It was a 49er, Raul Chondak, a 49er employee that testified against this guy who put his neck out for the 49ers for all these years. He got immunity to testify against him. I have stories, Zennie. I have stories. So it's like the old days of the company towns and those stories. It's shameful. It's embarrassing and shameful. But at the same time, we put on a successful event. Yay.
Yeah.
And we're on to the next one.
Talk about a residual, how about a mess? I mean, look, the NFL could step in and I think the cost gap is what right now between, is it 300,000 or basically is still unknown, right?
Oh, it's unknown. Yeah.
Okay.
And even that 6 million, we have to, submit all of our invoices and the reasons for them and hope that we get paid back. That's not an assurance that we're going to get paid back. That's just an estimate of the costs.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I would sue. Okay, I would not.
Who in their right mind would ever sign these kind of contracts? Nobody.
I don't. No. If I were in your position, I would get my city attorney. I would have a press conference. I would announce.
The city attorney helped write it.
Well, you know what?
The city manager blessed it.
Drug him or her, whoever it is, get him drugged. I mean, it just or appeal to them. Take, Hail Mary, Mother of Grace, whatever you have to do, because there's something there that's untoward. All right. And it's completely untoward. It's not how the NFL should operate. I know it for a fact. There are people who've dead now who would turn over in their graves, or probably are if they knew about this. It's wrong.
No, it really is. And to treat a city like this, but stay tuned. I'm trying to get as many eyes on this as possible so that we can get paid back because in situations like this, nobody wants the bad publicity that you're not paying back the city for what you owe them. And so the more eyes on this, the better. So thank you. I appreciate you having me on today to even talk
Got
about
it.
this
Yeah, appreciate your
because
comment.
I think that, there should be a whole bunch of accountability here and transparency for what's happening. And I want the best for my city, and I'm going to fight to make sure we get our costs paid back, at the very least.
Well, come on back and give us updates occasionally.
I will. Definitely. I will.
Gotta have you back. And oh, by the way, there is one thing I do want to cover, and that's when you first got started, because the whole relationship was different. You jumped in there. Tell my viewers how the whole thing started from your perspective that gave birth to the stadium and everything else. In brief, if you can, or however you want to do it.
Oh, you mean from the campaign?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well, the idea came up of I wasn't on the city council at the time. I was just in between. I was at my other real job, I'll call it, and they asked me because I've always been so involved in the community. Would I help run the campaign for the stadium? And I said yes, but I need to know all the benefits that our city's going to get. So they explained it to me, and I went out there and I took all the heavy hits because it was bringing the San Francisco stadium down to Santa Clara. So all the media was San Francisco, focused. And boy, I got attacked like crazy. I think that's where I sort of learned how to be attacked by the media. It was from that. So when the 49ers attacked me, I was prepared. They actually prepared me. But, and it was at a time where the economy wasn't going well. The 49ers were a losing football team. And Santa Clara was like, what? Why would we want something like this? So it took a whole team of us, of people that really believed that this could be a good thing for our community. And we went out and we put all of our names, our faces, our reputations on the line. I remember going to the soccer community because at the time my husband was coaching, my kids were just starting to play, and I was the creator of the soccer park next to the stadium, right, the famous soccer park. So I said, I went to the soccer community, don't worry, everything's safe, this and that. So long story short, the community votes in a special election, and I think it won by like 57%. And so it was like, yay, how we did this in the down market, a losing team, and all of this because they trusted us. So fast forward, they get that, the stadium's starting, we're negotiating the contracts, and one of our council members became mayor, so they appointed me to be on the city council to help with the contracts with the 49ers. I'm like, okay, because I knew about it, and I'm a business person. So long story short, the first thing they tried when the stadium was built, they tried to take the soccer park from the kids.
I remember that. Yeah, that was awful.
Remember that?
Yeah, sure
remember
do.
that? That was before. That was in 2015. And I'm like, what? Why would you do that? You promised. I went before the soccer community and said that this park was safe. And that's when I found out it doesn't matter how much you support them, what you do for them. As soon as you don't do what they want you to do, that's it. You're done. So that's when I was at odds with them, because I would throw my life down for that soccer park for our kids, and they tried to take it. But our community stepped forward and stopped it. And our city council, we were that close to them going in the back room and taking away the soccer park, and our mayor changed his mind. It was like that close because we had 500 people come down to City Hall. So after that, every promise they made to the community room, keeping the creek trail open, all the things one by one they broke, every single promise. So then the finances started to come in, and those first years we had made some really good, we had really great concerts, the Grateful Dead and all of these super great concerts. But every year we were only making $2.5 million. I thought, this is weird. Why do we have all these concerts and we're not making any money? Well, I won't go into all that, but it turns out,
is it because of the structure? Because 49ers Statco, and Statco gets the revenue?
Well, no, on the non-NFL events, it's supposed to be 50-50. And then
really?
they try, yeah, and then it's complicated, but yeah. And then they tried to lower their rent, and then we went to arbitration, and they wanted to lower it dramatically, like in half. And then we won arbitration, and then after that, then everything just went south. We had all the lawsuits they filed against us. People don't understand that we never filed a lawsuit against the 49ers. They filed all their lawsuits against us, but they were apparently very litigious in San Francisco as well. So it's just to the point. I just wanted them to pay their fair share, do what they promised, respect our community. And this is the way they repaid us. They filled the council, they got the staff, and they have been very successful. When they first came to Santa Clara, they were worth like 900 million. Mm-hmm. And I think the latest was like 8.5 billion.
8.5 billion. Yeah, how about
billion.
That?
And billion. Where did that come from?
Billion.
Santa Clara. It came from Santa Clara. Yep. And you look at what we were supposed to get to what we actually got, and it just pales in comparison. Just be fair with the community, be honest. But I don't know if that's possible.
It's unfortunate is a politically correct word I will use for this. Mm-hmm. Sad is another one, but also rectifiable, because as I see it, it's a matter of steering a dollar flow. But also, what I'm thinking about, and this is what it is, that my background is in planning and economic development, and I've known developers, like there was a guy that built Hacienda Business Park that goes way back in Bay Area development lore. Mm-hmm. I forgot Joe's last name. He came out to New York and he got it done, the approvals within 6 months. But how he did it was he niced everybody to death, but he also kept his promises.
Yeah.
And
right.
Today it seems like we have people who feel like it's their birthright to not keep a promise.
Right.
That's what the difference is. That's what bothers me. It's a nastiness that seems to have permeated our society.
And it's true that it's lack of integrity. It really is. It's honesty, integrity. I just, but look at what's happening in our world now, and some of our leaders and what's happening. So I think that it's disappointing to me. It's disappointing. And but people sometimes will just look the other way. It's hard to do the right thing. It's hard to stand up and do the right thing anymore. And people are willing to look the other way if they like sports or they like, whatever it is. They'll excuse the lack of integrity or the lack of honesty and make up reasons for supporting it.
Government should never
despicable characters. That's what I can say. So,
well, Ms. Mayor, on that note, you got to come back, and God bless you for coming on and talking for almost an hour. Actually,
you let a politician in, and I'm talking.
Yeah, I worked for 5 politicians. I'm used to it.
I mean, hey, you're not bad yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, you should, did you Rob Bonta, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Get Rob involved. He's a good friend of mine. I love Rob. He'll put a stop to it. You know that if he gets focused on something,
right?
Yeah. Plus, he's not running for governor, so.
Yeah, that's right. He's not.
No,
he's not. Everyone else is, but he's not.
He's footloose and fancy free. He can make it. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I feel like this is a therapy session. So thank you so much.
Oh, hey, you got it. No problem, Ms. Mayor. Again, it's an honor to have you on. It really is. Hey, you don't have to worry about. I got it. Everybody, thank you for coming on. Please share this around. I know it's going to ramp up later in the evenings. We're starting, I think, at 2:00, the mayor's time, 5:00 here, and I'm about 40 miles outside of Atlanta for my mom. and they'll ramp up later. All right. So anyway, subscribe to Zennie62 on YouTube and bookmark NFL News by Zennie62.com. That ends the stream. Ms. Mayor, you don't have to move a muscle. I got you. And there we go. Okay.